G'day guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And in today's video we'll be going through my round 12 AFL tips and predictions for the 2022 season. As well as that, we'll be going through my round 11 tips to see how I did in the tipping last week. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and we'll get straight into it. So for round 11 I got a frustrating 7 out of 9 tips correct, and I'll go through why it is frustrating in a minute. Started off with a thrilling high-scoring affair at the SCG. It was the Swans and Richmond, and also a controversial free kick 50-metre was not paid at the end of the game, resulting in a Swans win by only 6 points. Now, I did tip the Swans to get it done, however, I did tip them to get it done by 26, so got the tip correct, but the margin just a little bit off for this opening game. Then moving on to the Saturday games, it was Brisbane and GWS. I tipped Brisbane to get it done in a flogging of 48 points, and they only got it done by 14 points in the end, because I thought they were going to get it done by a lot more. You know, every time they've pretty much played at GWS at the Gabba, they seem to, put a fair number on the Giants, but no, the Giants were up to it, and they won a couple of quarters, so credit to the Giants, just weren't able to, get it done against a top side in the Brisbane Lions, so credit is due for the Giants here, and only losing by 14 points against Brisbane at the Gabba. That is a really good effort, so got that tip correct as well. Then we head over to GMHBA to see Geelong and Adelaide. I tipped the Cats to get it done by 39, they got it done by 42, so finally the margin getting a bit closer with only being 3 points off. And everyone knew it was going to be a comfortable cruising win for the Cats at home. And the upset of probably the year at the moment, we saw Melbourne get defeated by the Fremantle Dockers by 38 points at the MCG. Being a Dockers fan myself, I have not tipped against Freo once this year. However, I thought not a chance we win against Melbourne at the G, so I tipped Melbourne to get it done by 29. The first time I've tipped against Freo this year, and it was the first time, first time and only time I'll be tipping against them, because I will not be doing that again. Ever since the third term, Freo just turned on the Jets, and they scored a lot. A big number on the Ds, and ended up winning it by 38 points at the G. So really good stuff. And the Freo Dockers just been a bit of an up and down team at the moment. They haven't been too convincing over the past 2 weeks when we played the Suns and the Pies, but getting a win against Melbourne should definitely scare some of the other teams in the league at the moment. Then we saw the Eagles take on the Bulldogs at Optus Stadium. Tipped obviously the Dogs to get it done. I tipped them to get it done by 56, and they got it done by 101 points. And if I'm going to be honest, West Coast, this is happening week in, week out. So I'm not sure I'm really not sure what to do for the Eagles. I'm pretty sure they're just going to get flogged. They've already lost by 100, I reckon, 3 times this year, which is just appalling, and we're only 11 rounds in. So the Dogs, they haven't been too convincing, the Dogs, but they've found some form in the past maybe 4 to 5 weeks, and got a cruising convincing win over in Perth. Next game was Gold Coast and Hawthorn, in shaping up to be a pretty fair and even matchup. Before the game, I did tip the Suns to get it done by 3 points, and they ended up cruising past the Hawks by 67 points at TIO Stadium. The Suns scoring a total of 121 points, a pretty big score for the Suns themselves. And Hawthorn, they're just a bit out of shape at the moment. They're cruising past a Geelong win on Easter Monday, and then can't even beat Gold Coast, and they're getting thumped by 11 goals against the Suns. So Hawthorn been a bit unconvincing, but I reckon their time will come, and they should shape their season out to be a decent end, I reckon. And moving on to the Sunday games, it was the Saints and the Kangaroos at Marvel Stadium. I did tip the Saints to get it done by 74 points, and they got it done by 53 points. So 21 points off the final margin, however, just a cruise sailing win for the Saints. Then we head to the MCG for possibly game of the round. We saw Collingwood take on the Blues in the biggest rivalry in AFL history, and the Pies got it done by 4 points. Thrilling finish. Carlton had some missed opportunities towards the end of the game, which they could have taken to get the Chockies, but I did tip the Blues to get it done by 5 points, and Collingwood got it done by 4 points. So incorrect team, but a pretty close margin. Then for the last game of the round, it was Port Adelaide and Essendon, and the Power just sort of always seem like getting it done. You know, Essendon have, let's just face it, have not been a great team this year, and facing Port Adelaide, which have found some form in the past 7 weeks or so. They had a really poor start to the season, but found some form, and they're cruising pretty well at the moment, the Power. So there were my round 11 tips, and we'll go straight on to my round 12 tipping, and yeah, we'll get straight into it. Now, obviously, this week is the week that the buys are starting. There are 6 teams that will not be competing in any games this week because of the buy, and they are Carlton, Port Adelaide, St Kilda, Essendon, GWS, and Richmond. The first game we have is a thrilling opening matchup between the Western Bulldogs and the Geelong Cats on Friday night at Marvel Stadium. I feel like I'll be leaning towards the Dogs a little bit. I feel like Geelong they haven't been too convincing in some of their matchups. They lost against Freo at GMHBA, but they're also just flogging the easy teams. Like they had Port and also Adelaide at GMHBA, which is just gonna, pretty much a percentage booster at your home venue for the Cats. So I feel like I'll be leaning towards the Dogs. I feel like the Dogs know Marvel Stadium a little bit better. The Dogs also do have the odds to win this. I will be attending this game, so make sure to stay tuned for a matchday vlog on the Saturday. I reckon I will be leaning towards the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs had a massive win over in Perth, obviously, against West Coast, and that win has now put them into 8th position, and they have got 3 wins in a row now. The Dogs and Geelong have got the last 2 wins in a row. So I will be leaning towards the Dogs. Seems though it's at Marvel Stadium. I'll be tipping the Dogs to get it done by 13 points. I feel like both teams haven't been, too convincing. I feel like this is going to be a really fair matchup because both sides are sitting quite similarly at the moment in a lot of aspects in the game, so going to go the Dogs to get it done by 13. Moving on to the Saturday games now, we have Adelaide taking on the West Coast Eagles at Adelaide Oval, and this could be a really bad result for West Coast. We have seen them get thumped by 100 a few times this year already, and we're only up to round 12. And Adelaide, obviously heavy favourites, $1.12 to $6.50, the West Coast Eagles. And if the West Coast have any chance of beating any team, I feel like this is a team that they're capable of winning against, a team like Adelaide. However, at Adelaide Oval, I feel like Adelaide will just pile a number of goals against the West Coast, especially after what we saw last week in West Coast performance. They're both sitting in the bottom 4, however Adelaide at the top of the bottom 4, and West Coast sitting at the bottom of the table with a percentage of 49.7, which is just appalling, really appalling after 11 rounds of footy, pretty much halfway through the year, and your percentage is 49. And yeah, I'll be leaning towards Adelaide in this one. I'm going to go Adelaide to get it done by 86 points in a massive percentage booster for the Crows. And yeah, I reckon this could shape their season to maybe have a bit of a positive end of the year for Adelaide. Next game we have is Gold Coast and North Melbourne at TIO Stadium. Gold Coast performed really well at TIO Stadium in the previous week against Hawthorn. However, Hawthorn have been quite an up and down side. I reckon that I will still be leaning towards Gold Coast as they are heavy favourites coming into this game, and also North Melbourne sitting 17th, the Suns sitting 12th, and the Suns winning 3 out of their last 5 matchups, which is shaping their season to possibly finish finals bound for the Suns. So I'm pretty sure they have majority, I think they only have about 2 of their next games for the rest of the season that are top 8 sides. So the Suns well and truly could be on their way to making their first final series in history. 4:35 p.m. bounce down. I'll be tipping the Suns to get it done by 37 points at TIO Stadium. Playing there 2 weeks in a row, they should be used to the surface last week. They should be used to the conditions. And yeah, I reckon a cruising 37-point victory for the Gold Coast. Last game on the Saturday night, we have the D's and the Swans at the MCG. Now this, I reckon, is going to be a cracker because the D's, we didn't think many people were going to defeat them this year, and the Dockers got it done against them at the MCG. So I reckon if the Dockers can get it done at the MCG against Melbourne, absolutely anyone can, apart from West Coast. I will be probably still leaning against Melbourne for this one. I feel like Sydney, they've got the fans. They definitely have the fans to cheer them on in Vic. However, I feel like they both play similar games at the G. They both play like a similar brand of footy. However, I feel like D's, they should bounce back. They really should bounce back, Melbourne. And I will tip them to get it done. I'll say 21 points final margin. However, I can really see this one leaning any way. The Sydney Swans have not been in the best patch of form at the moment, and the D's, well, yeah, they won pretty much 17 in a row and then lost against the Dockers to break that winning streak. So yeah, the Swans, not in the greatest of form. You know, we've seen them lose against some teams like Gold Coast, Brisbane, and also Carlton on Friday night footy a couple weeks back. So I feel like Melbourne will live up to the expectations, and they should be able to record another win after last week's pretty disappointing result for the D's. Next game we have is Hawthorn and Collingwood, Sunday 5th of June, 2:10 p.m. at the MCG. Now this one is going to be shaping up to be a pretty good affair, I reckon. I think both teams are quite even at the moment in where they rank. Hawthorn, let's be honest, have not had that good of a year. They started off really well, like beating some teams and staying in some pretty close contests against some pretty tough teams to beat. So credit to the Hawks, but yeah, no, since then they haven't really been performing up to their standard as they should be. And Collingwood, with their last 2 wins in a row, they've got 2 in a trot. The Pies and the Hawks only winning 1 out of their last 5 matches. Collingwood are the favourites to go into this game. However, I feel like Hawthorn, they're just the type of team to beat Collingwood here. They don't have the odds to win it. However, I can see this one going either way. This is going to be, I reckon, a really high scoring game. It's going to be both over 100 points, I reckon. And I think I'm going to lean actually towards the Hawks in, well, I'm not sure if I would say an upset, but definitely against the odds. I'll be tipping the Hawks to get it done by 7 points in a thriller at the G, Sunday Arvo footy. And yeah, as I said before, it's going to be a high-scoring, thrilling game, in my opinion. Last game of the round, we have the Fremantle Dockers taking on the Brisbane Lions, Optus Stadium, Sunday afternoon footy. The Dockers have the odds going into this game, which I'm not sure if it's quite surprising. It's second versus third on the table. This is going to be a thrilling game. The Dockers lost their last 2 in their last 5 games, and Brisbane have only lost 1 out of their last 5 games. Freo have the odds to win it. And I feel like after last week's performance against the D's, the Dockers definitely capable to get it done. However, Brisbane's such a big and tough team. I feel like this could go absolutely either way. As I am a Dockers fan, and as I did mention at the start of the video, can't tip against my own team again. I can't believe the one time I tip against them, we got it done. So I'm going to be tipping the Dockers to get it done. Going to say 16-point margin win for the Dockers. However, Brisbane could definitely run over us at Optus. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you haven't already, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The content should be coming out quite frequently over the next couple of weeks. Got a match day vlog coming out on Saturday of the Friday night match, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And yeah, I'll see you all in my next video.